Hello and welcome to my review of the Sisters of Battle Rhino, or the Adeptus Sorrytax Rhino. Now this model will set you back £35, which is a fair amount of money for a Rhino. Let's face it, this is a 20-year plus sprue bundled with a unique sprue for the Sisters of Battle that you won't find in either the Exorcist or the Immolator tank kits. How does it compare to other Rhinos, I hear you ask? Well, if you're not already aware, a Chaos Rhino, moving on to a size comparison I suppose, which is this one right here. This is a Chaos Rhino. This one's in green plastic because it came in the Conquest subscription. One of those will set you back £25 individually. It's the same Rhino chassis, but with a Chaos kind of upgrade sprue in there. Now, okay, I'll admit, you don't get nearly as many customization options, but you still get a plethora of them. The customization options I'm referring to are things like the front plate, which you don't get. You don't get the side doors for the Chaos. You don't get this top hatch, but everything else you get bits and bobs that are similar to the Chaos Rhino kit. Now, like I say, this kit here will set you 25. For some reason, for the Sisters of Battle Tax, I'm calling it, for £10 more, you're getting that. The aim of this review is to equip you with as much knowledge about this model to make your own opinion on whether you think it's worth £35 for the cheapest troop transport for Sisters of Battle. To put it in more perspective, the standard Space Marine Rhino will cost you £27.50. However, that does include options to turn it into a Razorback. So it has the twin-linked heavy bolter in there, but it doesn't really have any customization in terms of changing it into a sort of Legion-specific Rhino, such as a Dark Angels 1 or a Blood Angels 1 or something like that. It has a couple of different front ornaments that you can put on there to make it a Blood Angels Rhino, I suppose. But yeah, it's severely lacking. This, make no mistake, this is the most jam-packed, pimped up Rhino that you can get, and that kind of does reflect the price. You get a lot with the Chaos Rhino kit, understandably, but never have Games Workshop invested so much into a kit to make it specific for, say, Sisters of Battle. If you're wondering how much Rhinos are over on Forge World, who are ubiquitous of charging a high price for the resin models, one of their Deimos pattern Rhinos is £42, so it is £7 more, but you're getting the old Rhino plastic chassis and kit, and you're getting a number of resin parts. You're getting a full side panels of resin, you're getting 2 top hatches of resin, the front dozer blade or spikes, whatever you want to call it, and you're getting the front armor plates, as well as the, as I mentioned, the side panels, which includes the unique exhaust pipes, which this plastic kit doesn't have. So what we're going to do after all that rambling is we're going to have a full look at this model, look at the spare parts. There's not that many, not as many as you may think. We'll do some size comparisons and then I'll go into the rules. The rules will be quite straightforward. It's a troop transport that can carry 10 Sisters of Battle. So the box, first of all, nice looking box. It's the same size as both the Exorcist and the Immolator, which in a way kind of gives the impression that it includes as many sprues and as many parts and things. It gives you a nice look at the different head options. You get 2 different helmetless heads, one with a scar, one without, and then you get the helmeted head. You've got an option there of the lovely Hunter Killer missile launcher, and you can have the Storm Bolter too. However, you can't have the Storm Bolter with the sister out of the cupola, whatever you want to call it, as well as the Hunter Killer. And the Hunter Killer missile isn't one of these where you can put it on the back like the Exorcist and the Immolator, so that's a bit of a shame. Would have been nice to have that because it's incorporated into this firing mechanism thing, but So if you want the Stormbolter and Hunter Killer, you're going to have it without the sister popping up out of there, which I've done. I've gone for the Stormbolter. If I get another one, I'm gonna have it in this selection with the Hunter Killer on the side. So it gives you the options and things, but it is a little bit limited in that regard. Let's have a closer look at this model then. So as you can see, a load of detail on both of the side doors. This icon and filigree, whatever you want to call it, that's exactly the same on the other side of the steps up to the top of the vehicle. Includes this fleur-de-lis icon where you can put one of the specific order icons on, but I found that it got a bit too busy and it overshadowed the fleur-de-lis icon. So in the end, I just settled for a purity seal. I've gone for the full armament of scrolls, and again this like lovely golden filigree that you're going to put on there, and again there in the same order I think as Games Workshop have done. The smoke launchers, I've put them on the lights of the tank, which is what the instruction guide does say, even though the box clearly has them where your normal Rhino would have them, and where I've put them on the immolator. But yeah, you can put them on the lights, no issue there. And if you wanted to leave the cupola movable and with the Stormbolter at that angle, if you were moving that around, that's not going to interfere with the smoke launchers. Now the front armour plate, you've got an option there of putting a different order. Mine are going to be the order of the Bloody Rose, I think. You've also got these hooks here. Purity seal, I put a little rose there as well. The Stormbolter is specific for Sisters of Battle. It's got a fleur-de-lis icon there and another one flanking it. The Sisters of Battle herself popping up out of the cupola is lovely, very well detailed. For me, it's going to be an absolute pain to paint. You've got this nice sword here. All of these parts are sort of optional. You don't even need to put this front plate on. You can turn it around and have it normal. This little icon thing, shrine, whatever, you get a couple of them, so that's optional. And then I like these filigree icon things, artwork on the side. You know, painted gold, it's going to look beautiful. And then again, these are optional. It's a shame that you have to stick these on and it didn't come with a bespoke plastic ramp. However, I don't think they could have fit that on the extra sprue. Maybe they could and added a few more options. I would have liked a different ramp. That would have been great, seeing as I had difficulty having this ramp stay open. In other Rhinos it was fine, but maybe the tolerances were a bit odd with this one, and I wasn't able to, unfortunately, have it left open like I have all of the others. So to have this glued shut and only have these little things sort of attached is a bit, yeah, I would have liked a full bespoke door, much like the front panel. I know you're going to see the front panel more than the ramp, but it would have been cool to have that. And that's about it for the Rhino. So you get, you know, 2 different doors, different top hatch, different front panel, loads of little extra bits that you can glue on, and yeah, you could have opted to put the Hunter Killer on there. If you don't opt to put that on there, you get this sort of hatch with a ecclesiarchy kind of symbol, I think it is. But yeah, unfortunately you don't get the beautiful tank tracks that you get on the Immolator and the Exorcist. You don't get the option of having the Hunter Killer on the back tracks, and you don't get the glorious exhausts in flames, the brazier exhausts in the kind of Demos pattern chassis, I want to call it. That's basically what it is. This is very much a 40K Rhino with Sisters of Battle filigree and iconography and things on it. So there you go, that's the Rhino, a big close up. Let's have a look at these spare parts then. So here they are. As you can see, you don't get that many extra. You get this book that's open. It's got detail on the covers, but nothing on the pages, so you're gonna have to write your little writing on there. I could have glued it on. I think I still might, I'm not sure, because the right side of the tank itself is a bit bare. I might glue that on, I'm not sure yet. You get another one of these shrines. This one's got a Sisters of Battle holding a sword, and then a skull and bones in the other side. You get this beautiful hunter-killer missile, but yeah, as I said, it's attached to the kind of firing mechanism thing, which is still quite cool. It's got a slave servitor head thing in there, so that's still awesome. You get a load of candles. I think you only get 3 candles, not 4 candles. That's a running joke. I'm sorry. I will continue doing that joke. I don't care. So that, you know, can go anywhere. I just felt it was a bit odd having candles on a tank, but then again, the Immolator has candles, lots of candles. So you can have the candles on there if you really wish. Then you've got all of these different order icons. Yeah, I think that's the bloody rose, I think. All different ones as well, which is great. You get a box of bones, you get some more icons in shrines, you get the handles for the Stormbolter if you don't want to have the sister holding it. You get more little icons for orders and minor orders too, which is really cool. You've got a Fleur de Lis icon there as well. You get the missile for the hunter-killer, and you get a couple more purity seals. Not as many purity seals as I was hoping for, but then again you do get some scrolls and things. So they are all of the spare parts that you get in this kit. So now we're on to the juicy bit. Let's have a look at this Sisters of Battle Rhino compared to the Immolator, which is right here, and then the Exorcist. Lovely to see all these tanks in one go. Believe it or not, this is £130 worth of tanks, of plastic tanks. It seems like an astronomical amount of money just for these 3, and it is. You know, £130 for 3 tanks, 3 Rhino chassis type tanks is, well, what you'd be paying from Forge World, I'm sure. But these do have a lot of detail on them. They're very bespoke, I want to say, to Sisters of Battle, especially these two. These 2 vehicles are synonymous to the Adeptus Sorrytax. Maybe not the Rhino, but the Rhino I do feel is a little bit out of place. It's a bit higher because the chassis on both of these are lower. They share the same kind of Rhino sprue chassis with each other. This Rhino is a bit higher, but it's missing something. Like if you just take a snapshot of that and you look at the braziers for the exhausts, that's the thing that it's missing. And I think it would have elevated it a bit higher if it had that. And I feel a bit bad that they didn't carry on with that aesthetic so that it would match. But yeah, once you spray it up in the colours and things, it's going to kind of fit in, I guess. But yeah, bit sad that they didn't carry on with these braziers and the Demos pattern looking as well. I understand, you know, that Rhinos come and go, but it would be nice if you had at least the option to have the braziers and the Demos kind of doors. That would have been nice. But there we go. That's a little size comparison with it. So yeah, compared to the Immolator, it's a bit lower. It's not the same height for the chassis. But obviously length it's the same. And then comparing it to the Exorcist, which is the largest tank, you know, this one's £50, which is a huge amount of money. But it's so cool. I definitely want to get another one. Without the cherubs though, I think, for the next one. So there you go. That's how it holds up with those. With other models in the range, so here's an Anchorite or Penitent engine. They're both going to be the same height. Remember, one of these is taller than a standard Dreadnought. There's the Cannon S. Yep, you can sort of imagine 10 squeezed in there together, nice and cozy. And then there's Saint Celestine as well. So it is the same size as a Rhino, like I say. Yeah, you know, here's the Chaos one. The Chaos one just looks a bit more intimidating and bigger, you know, than the Sisters one. But still, hope all those size comparisons have helped. So let us dive into this part of the review where I will be going through all of the rules for the Sisters of Battle Rhino. You'll find the vehicle tucked away at the back of the unit choices in the codex. It is a transport choice along with the Immolator, which is great. It's a power points cost of a 3 and a points cost of 65. If you want the Storm Bolter, you're going to have to pay a little 2 points for that, so that's 67. If you want the Hunter Killer Missile, you're going to have to pay another 6 points. So that's 73 points in total. So it's creeping up to that 100 point mark. It's one of these vehicles whereby its characteristics change as it suffers damage. So if it's got between 6 and 10 wounds, its movement speed is 12 inches, ballistic skills 3+, and it has 3 attacks. If it's got between 3 and 5 wounds, its movement speed is 6 inches, ballistic skill drops to 4+, and it only has D3 attacks. And then the remaining wounds of 1 to 2, the movement speed is 3 inches, ballistic skill 5+, and attacks of 1. Its weapon skill is 6+, strength is 6, its toughness is 7, it's got 10 wounds, leadership 8, and a save of 3+. So it's got exactly the same stat line as the Immolator. For all intents and purposes, it is an Immolator without the Immolation Flamers. It's a single model equipped with a Storm Bolter, of which you have to pay your 2 points for. You can equip it with 1 Hunter Killer Missile. Be great if you could equip it with 2 or 3. The Hunter Killer, just for reference if you wanted to know, it's a range of 48-inch weapon. It's a Type 1, strength 8, AP -2, damage D6, and the bearer can only shoot this weapon once per battle, so it's a one-shot weapon. Better off shooting it at the start, or you know, if it's still got 6 to 10 wounds, because then with your ballistic skill 3+, you've got a higher chance of using that. And further down the battle, you could make use of your miracle dice if you wanted to get that vital hit. The Storm Bolter, I'll just go through that. It's a range 24-inch rapid fire 2 weapon, strength 4, AP 0, and a damage of 1. Abilities: Axe of Faith, Sacred Rites, and Shield of Faith, so it's getting that invulnerable 6+ save. It has a smoke launchers, whereby once per battle, instead of shooting in your shooting phase, this model can use its smoke launchers until the start of your next shooting phase. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against this model, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Explodes: when this model is destroyed, roll 1d6 before any embarked models disembark and before removing it from play. On a 6, it explodes and each unit within 6 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds, and then self-repair. If this model has lost any wounds, you can roll 1d6 at the start of your turn. On a 6, this model regains 1 lost wound. Transport: this model has a transport capacity of 10 Adeptus infantry models. It cannot transport jump pack models and can only transport Adeptus Sorrytax models if they have the Order, Dialogus, or Hospitaller keyword. So you can't be putting any of your Adeptus Ministorum infantry units in, such as the Death Cult Assassins or your Arco-Flagellants, unfortunately. But you can put your Sisters Repentia in there because they do have the Order keyword. Speaking of keywords, the keywords for the Rhino is Imperium, Adeptus Ministorum, Adeptus Sororitas, Vehicle, Transport, Rhino, and Sororitas Rhino. So there you go, that's all the rules. It's pretty straightforward. It's nice that it has the abilities. It has as many abilities as you can possibly think of. It has the self-repair, the explodes, the smoke launchers. It has the Axe of Faith, Sacred Rites, and Shield of Faith, so it can repair itself on a 6. It's also got that invulnerable save. Its toughness is alright. It's got good movement speed, and it can carry your 10 Sisters of Battle. It is a very good option for transporting, you know, 10 Sisters of Battle. It's also a good option for transporting your Retributors or your Dominion squad, but your Celestian squad, I'd probably put them in a Immolator instead, give them a bit more, along with a Canoness, because the Immolator can carry 6 models, and it can wear down the enemy before you get them into battle. And that's exactly what you want. You want a vehicle with the Immolator, you want a vehicle to wear down an enemy of 10 or 15 models before you throw 6 models at them or near them. But in all intents and purposes, the toughness and wounds and saves and things like that are all the same between the Immolator and the Rhino. But with the Immolator, you're swapping the ability to carry 4 extra models and the self-repair for the Immolation Flamers. So it's up to you whether you think those Immolation Flamers are worth it, and obviously it costs more points too. What do you guys think of the Rhino? That's quite an in-depth review from me today. Please do put your thoughts and opinions down below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.